All right. I'm live without Rom. First time we've gone live solo. So happy Friday, everybody. If you're tuning in or watching this later, today is December 8th. And I was reflecting yesterday on the day after Pearl Harbor Day because there was a cover of the Wall Street Journal that showed a picture of survivors who were celebrating the 82nd anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And they were both centenarians. One was 101 and one was 102. And I've been focusing a lot on, how to live to 100, whether it's reading the book Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia, or thinking about my own health, or talking with our clients about their health, and talking and interviewing concierge doctors. I have an upcoming podcast dropping tomorrow, or maybe this afternoon if we get all the editing done, with an interview with Dr. Tyler Cooper, who is the CEO of the Cooper Clinic, which is a world renowned preventative medicine clinic in Dallas, Texas, that was started by Dr. Tyler Cooper's father, Dr. Kenneth Cooper, who, amazing background, super interesting story, was in the Air Force and was asked by NASA to come up with a protocol to counter the effects of anti gravity. And the results of that really became his groundbreaking research in that resulted in a book called Aerobics that he released and really set the stage for the modern fitness revolution. Um, Before Dr. Cooper, at the time, people thought, you know, you had a fixed number of heartbeats in your life, and that if you use them up running or doing some other aerobic activity, you would shorten your lifespan. And Dr. Cooper had a very different take, and ultimately his point of view proved to be correct. And around that, he built a massive business, a massive research center that has helped millions of people through their research and writing, and hundreds of thousands of patients. And I had the pleasure and opportunity and privilege to interview his son, Dr. Tyler Cooper, who is now the CEO of the Cooper Clinic. And we had a fascinating interview. He's a really inspiring person, and he tells inspiring stories of others who have really taken control of their health. And I think you'll enjoy it if you tune in. And it hit me when I was reading the paper and looking at the centenarians, how much they've seen in their life. But what was sad also from a legacy perspective is I don't know how many people yesterday thought about Pearl Harbor Day. We're 82 years removed from Pearl Harbor Day, and it was a day that changed the world. I mean, it brought America into World War II. It changes American history and changes the world, considering our reluctance to enter into World War II, despite the known atrocities that were occurring in Europe towards Jewish people from the Nazi regime, which it's horrible when you look back and think that it took Pearl Harbor to bring us into the war. But, I guess in some ways, fortunately, it did. But here we are 82 years later, and people don't remember that. Certainly, it's not as celebrated or discussed. Celebrate is the wrong word, but discussed and remembered the way I would expect it to be. And it makes me think about what are the things that we're doing today that really are going to be remembered in the future. And not many of the things that we spend a lot of time thinking about are going to be deeply contemplated in 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years. I think 9/11 in 80 years, will that be a really important day? Will people just kind of gloss over it, much like yesterday may have been glossed over by most people? Um, I don't say it to get too down or negative, but more just an honest reflection on the fact that, you know, we have to live true to our own value system and build our own legacy, and not think that that legacy is necessarily going to be remembered 50 or 100 years later by anybody. Even. I mean, maybe your family will, but even a monumental event like Pearl Harbor Day 82 years later is just not that important to the day to day. It doesn't get that much mind space. That's a little sad, and it just had me thinking and reflecting on that day. I'd say another thing that came up this week that was fascinating for me on a personal level is I have spoken about Prenuvo, which is a preventative advanced MRI screening company. And they've gotten some amazing coverage this year in some large newspapers, New York Times and Wall Street Journal, talking about some of the incredible successes they've had identifying early disease in people. And it sparked my interest. And so I followed them a little bit, but I hadn't thought much about it until I drove past a Prenuvo location in Bethesda, Maryland, and said, oh my gosh, I've got to go in. So I parked, I had to go to FedEx. And then after FedEx, I walked around the corner and went into the Prenuvo in Bethesda, said hello. First of all, they were amazingly gracious. They gave me a tour of the facility, and the people there were wonderful. But I learned some incredible things that really just blew me away. So they have an MRI machine that's running from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They never turn it off, actually. So it runs all day, 24 hours a day, because it takes so many hours to turn it back on that it would be counterproductive to their business to ever turn it off. So they have a special cooling agent that monitors the MRI machine to keep it from overheating. And then from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for 6 days a week, it's booked solid from the beginning of December until through April. Incredible number of people going to get their advanced individual MRI screening, which I thought was really incredible. It tells us how many people are taking preventative medicine very seriously. That one machine does 18 to 20 scans a day, which can be anywhere from 18 to 20 patients to 12 patients if an individual patient is getting multiple screens, because you can do your head and torso, or the full body. And they're doing so well, they're installing a second machine. In fact, the Philips technicians who are calibrating that machine were in the office when I was there, and I saw them calibrating the second machine, which I'm now on the waiting list for. So I'm excited to get that done. I don't know when I'll be able to get in. The waiting list doesn't even open up technically for appointments until January 1st. So I should get a call in early January about when my appointment can be scheduled. It's $2,199 to get an individual screen. And I think there was a discount if my wife and I both get a screen. I hope she wants to, not for the discount, but for the knowledge of our current health status. And if she does, then we'll get a little discount. We'll both do it. I'll report back on how it goes. Maybe not all the health details that are revealed, but the experience itself. I know from being given a tour that it should take about an hour to fully scan the body. And then you get an app afterwards that she showed me, the nurse that is the manager of the location, who was really gracious to show me through the store and through the application. Really, you can drill down and see incredible data right in the palm of your hands through the application that they have. So I'm really excited by it. I hope that people are doing this, because it's got to be much better to be in front of medical problems rather than being reactive. And we talk to our clients about this so that they have these tools in their tool so that they can, do what's necessary to give themselves the best chance to live to 100 or however long they want to live. And I think what's that during the conversation with Dr. Tyler Cooper, he talked about that their analysis shows that their approach to preventative medicine, doing advanced screenings, could cut healthcare costs in half, which just blew me away. We talk so much about the spiraling healthcare costs in this country, and I think the attitude and of reactive medicine is changing, and moving towards preventative medicine will be a really critical change for our country. And the other aspects of cutting healthcare costs in half are improving the fitness of the average American, which is also what Dr. Tyler and I talk about. So really excited for that to launch. Two other quick updates. We at Lumida launched a 13F tracker. So every quarter, hedge fund managers are required by SEC regulation to file 13F reports that disclose their holdings, the changes in their holdings, their new acquisitions, and those get reported, I believe, 45 days after the end of the quarter. And we have taken and built out a 13F tracker that analyzes the top hedge fund managers, what they've added, what they've taken out of their holdings, and really built out an incredible interface for people to look through. I encourage you to go check it out. It's our 13F tracker. You can find it linked in all of our social channels, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Track some really interesting investors, and we've had some really fascinating insights into where they're investing and where they're pulling back. And I'd say the last thing is that Ram and I, when he gets back, he's out in San Francisco this week, we're going to be doing a webinar and talking with clients and potential clients about our approach to investing in digital assets. So we've asked people if they can submit questions and want us to talk about specific things to let us know. Again, you can find that in both mine and Ram's Twitter, and submit a question if you have a question for us to address, and we'll be happy to talk about what you're interested in learning. So keep it short this week. Don't have Ram to talk about anything else, but I'll kind of end it there and just say looking forward to the weekend, looking forward to relaxing this weekend and focusing a little bit on health and wellness. It's been a tough couple weeks after the flu knocked me down, and needed to sleep and recover for a little while, but back feeling good. Hopefully have a good weekend as we kind of get close to the holiday season. So we'll be back next week with Ram, and we'll continue the conversation then. All right. Take care. Have a great one.